Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me for lunch. This is Lunch with Laura. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I know for a lot of you, it's back to school. So you had a really busy weekend making sure the kids had everything they needed and they were all from the right mindset to just take the world by storm today and just have a great day at school and have a really good start to the new school year. And so what we're going to be talking about today is 3 things to survive back to school when you're in the middle of a divorce because there's a lot going on. And so, there might include some information in here that may be legal in nature, but it's not intended to be legal advice and it's not a substitute for legal advice. And so if you need legal advice, please make sure that you contact a lawyer in your area. But aside from January, the most popular time for filing for divorce is right at the end of the school year. So this time of year, a lot of times, you're just getting used to, the new normal. And so here's your survival guide, okay? Now, back to school, you're dealing with a new visitation schedule because usually, depending on the state that you live in, usually the visitation schedule is different for the school year than it is for the summer. So the kids and you have to adjust to that, and also, your soon-to-be ex. Then there's a new school schedule and a new bedtime schedule that you're dealing with. And then you're trying to manage all of that and deal with all the crap that you have to do to keep your divorce case moving forward. So there's a lot. Be patient with yourself. Understand that it is a time of great transition. And so, if you're feeling like, you're trying to grasp onto something and it feels like, you have grease on your hands and you can't really grab a hold of it, that's normal and natural. I have a lot of women tell me that. And so just know that that's normal. And so here are the 3 things that you could start to do right now, today, okay? So there's usually a change, like I said, in the visitation schedule. And so make sure that you understand what the new schedule is. Sometimes when, there might be certain days off for school, whether it's administrative stuff that the school is doing, it's not necessarily a national holiday, or, you're not quite sure if it's a major holiday, if the regular schedule still stays in place and, what happens there. Sometimes that's true even if it's an agreement that you came to on your own with you and your ex, or if it's something that you had something like temporary orders and that the court set visitation in place. Sometimes you're just not sure because that situation hasn't come up yet. So please always make sure that you understand what the orders say. And so, because, when you get angry, when he gets angry, it always costs you more money. And who wants that? You're already going through enough. You don't want to have to, start the sacrifice of trying to figure out how you're going to pay for more than you actually thought it might cost you if things get ramped up. And so you don't want that. And one good way of doing that in a cheap and expensive way, even if you're representing yourself, if you don't have a lawyer, a lot of times if you get a referral from your local bar association, sometimes the city that you live in, the city's big enough to have their own bar association. For example, Dallas has their own bar association. But if you live in a smaller city, go ahead. Hey, Lisa, yes, good. I'm glad you find this helpful. If you live in a smaller city or town, your county will have a bar association. Contact them. They usually have an attorney referral program. And usually for like, $50, you get like a half hour. So what you do is write down all the questions that you want answered and make sure that you have your questions in order of importance. Because if you run out of time, you want to make sure that the questions that you have, you answer the most important ones and you get that done. Okay. And so, so definitely write down different scenarios for visitation and make sure you understand what that says. The second thing is make good use, and I've spoken about this before, make good use of co-parenting tools that are online. And what do I mean by that, if you hadn't heard me say that before? There are software that helps you calendar and communicate with your ex. And everything is, charted, and, you can calendar when, your son and daughter has their, football game or, class assembly or parent-teacher night, whatever it is. That way, you can prove that you let your ex know, even though, it's his responsibility to really also find out what's going on too. But, whatever. If you want to just, try to keep the peace and make things, a little smoother transition, if you're calendaring it already for yourself, You know, those online tools, every time you make an entry on the calendar, it will send him a text or an email notification saying, hey, something was calendared in the system. You need to take a look at it. And also, if you need to send them a message, hey, you know, I need to change, you know, the weekend pickup from, you know, 6:30 to 8 o'clock. Is that okay with you? You know, take advantage of those online tools, especially if things are starting to ramp up. It helps you to stay, you know, kind of at arm's length until things calm down, you know, and you know, you just kind of get past that hurdle. So make good use of online co-parenting tools. I don't get a penny for this, but the tool that I've had good experience with is called Our Family Wizard. And it's really great because, you know, God forbid, if there is something that, you know, gets escalated, the judge can actually go in and see, hey, you know, when was this entered? And when did your ex look at it? The judge can actually go in and see when your ex went in to look at what you put there, you know, and you know, they can see, you know, communication back and forth all in one place, so you don't have to worry about trying to figure out text messages and emails that you have back and forth that you have in different places, especially if you have more than one email. Can you imagine trying to figure out, oh, which email did I send that under? You know, so that way it's all in one place. It makes it so much easier. You know, press the easy button. That's what we want to do when we're in a great period of transition, when we have a lot going on. So that's really, really important. And also too, you know, sometimes it's hard to remember things because when you're in transition, your mind, you feel like there's nothing that's normal, and it's easier to forget stuff. So if you have stuff in one place, that's also a good thing. Save yourself the headache and the time and the time that you waste trying to figure out, you know, where's that information on my computer or where's that information on my phone. So that's really, really important. And it may be, I know sometimes it may be a pain in the butt to set that up initially, but trust me, it's worth, you know, the 2 hours or whatever it is, or the hour that it takes to set it up, because you'll thank yourself later. And sometimes too, I know ladies say to me all the time, why do I always have to be, you know, the one who does all this? You know, he's dad too. He contributed 23 chromosomes to my kid becoming a human being. Why didn't he do this too? And I get it. It's not fair. You know, I'm using the F word, fair. You know, I know it's not fair, but you know what? We're usually the ones that have to put on our big pants anyway, right? And so, you know, if our kids are really going to benefit, that's the way that I help my clients to look at it. You know, our kids are going to be so much better for it because, you know, you don't always feel like you want to, you know, have that throat to choke when you see your, you know, soon-to-be ex, right? Because kids pick up on that, you know, when, you know, the things have heightened and there's been a lot of discord and conflict and arguments going on. You don't want your kids absorbing that. If, you know, as much as possible, if you can stop that. And not only that too, but, you know, it saves your nerves. You know, it's better for your health not to be always in a constant state of upset all the time. So, you know, moms do what we need, you know, we need to do, right? I mean, I don't have children, you know, I'm involved with my nieces and nephews, but, you know, I get it. So just know that I recognize that I shouldn't always say, you know, you should always be the one to do it. You know, I get it, but it always defaults to us. I know. Okay, and the last thing is try to be as organized as you can. And that'll help you to kind of set up your new normal. You know, sometimes when, you know, your ex has moved out and, you know, he's taken some of the furniture, which is normal. He's also taken maybe some of the pots and pans and dishes. So, you know, you have to kind of rearrange that stuff. And so take your time. Don't feel like you have to do all that stuff in one day. You know, there's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. You know, just calendar, okay, you know, this coming weekend, I'm going to, you know, tackle this part of the room, or, you know, in 2 weeks, I'm going to do this and that because, you know, I'm making sure that the kids are okay in school. And, you know, it's just too much going on. So just make sure that, you know, you can kind of calendar that. Like I said, it's harder to concentrate when you're in a period of transition just because your body's just like, oh, there's a lot for me to get used to. And so it affects your memory. And if you talk to any counselor, they'll tell you that it's absolutely normal and natural. So don't feel like you're going crazy, okay? Because I know when I was, you know, going through, you know, right before my divorce, I just felt like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm feeling like there's nothing to grasp onto. Everything's changing, and I just feel like a fish out of water. I feel like I'm up so high in elevation, it's hard for me to breathe. I don't know if that resonates with somebody, but I just felt like somebody needed to hear that today. If it feels like you just can't catch your breath, it's going to be okay. God knows the end from the beginning. He knows exactly that you're going to be right here, right at this time. And don't think that, oh my gosh, I've messed up God's plans for me. You're not that powerful. God is the Almighty. So just know that, don't be discouraged. Sometimes when we try to bite off too much, and we don't, we just run out of time. There's only so many hours in the day. Just pace yourself, take your time, and that'll help you to guard against being discouraged and feeling like you're overwhelmed and having anxiety try to attack you, because that's another important thing is this is a time that, we have these assignments against us to feel like, we're supposed to be overwhelmed and we can't do it, and we'll never get to a point where we feel like, everything is normal again. That's an absolute lie from the pit of hell. You will establish a new normal. You will get into a new routine. Your kids will get into a new routine. They're going to flourish in school. They're going to flourish and find new friends and make new friends and strengthen the friends they had, strengthen the friendships they had from last year, all that good stuff. Your kids are going to flourish, and do wonderful. They're going to be A students that will get an A on every exam. They're going to be able to focus on their schoolwork. They're okay. They're okay. Because you're going to be okay. So things will become more familiar to you. It'll increase your comfort level and help you to get settled into what your life looks like, and it'll help you to kind of, rewrite that book. That was a good time to just reinvent and establish better things moving forward. A lot of times, and I'll just pick on myself. I just felt like my ex had so many things, habits, personality traits that were difficult for me to deal with, and I felt like I was always moving backwards. So now is a good time to establish the habits that are going to help you to move forward, to propel you forward, whether it's in your personal life, in your career, whether it's for your kids, so that they can, see what good habits and how you model them for your kids. Yes, Oni, I'm glad that you found this helpful. And so, because we model behavior for our kids, right? And so if they see you establishing these healthy habits, and saying, you know what, yeah, it's going to be a pain in the butt to do this up front, but look at the benefits. If you help your kids look at the benefits, later on, and not be in such a microwave society that, we need to have everything right now, that's a great thing. That's a great hallmark of a good parent, and that's a wonderful thing. So if you're able to do that for your kids, that's fabulous. And I just hope that you guys will just hope you found this video helpful. I think I'll be here tomorrow. I'm supposed to do an interview, a radio interview at 1 o'clock. If I'm able to broadcast a part of that tomorrow, then I'll be on at 1 o'clock instead of at 12 noon, lunch at Laura's. So it just depends. I probably will announce or put a post on my page what I'm going to do. I probably won't know that until tomorrow morning when they contact me for the call-in, for all the good stuff for that. So either way, I'll either be here at 12 or at 1 o'clock. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. Take care.